Hey everybody, today we're going to be working on the Farmall Cub again. Today we are going to show you how to put a power takeoff in it. First thing you need to do, go underneath your transmission area. Right there you can see it. There's a square-headed plug like that in there. Just take that out to drain all your rear end fluid out. Now it drains from the transmission and the rear end, so they share one fluid. Alright, and after that's drained, you come around back here where the PTO would be. There should be a cover like this if there's not a PTO in it. You got 7 bolts around it. Now I've already had these off and I've been draining my rear end for over a week now because I don't know how well it's going to show up, but that's the fluid that was in mine. Very full of water, but everything in here looks good. One weird thing I found when I was in here, I don't know where I set it right now, but we'll find it. There was a washer laying in here, and I cannot figure out where it would have came from. I don't know if it's been in here since the factory assembled this thing, if somebody's been in here. Nothing in here looks like it's been changed. Everything looks good. So I don't know. Now I'm going to finish wiping the rest of that fluid out of there. I've been letting it, like I said, I've been letting it drain down for about 4 or 5 days now just to get it all worked, get all the moisture-filled fluid out of here so when we put new fluid in, it'll be clean. Alright, so here's that washer I was talking about that was laying in the bottom of that differential. There's kind of a lip on the inside of it here. Other than that, just looks like a plain washer to me. Nothing else was found in there other than a few metal shavings, stuff like that. Next, what you want to do now, I already have this part in, but I did it because it's easier to do with the battery box off, and I've got the battery, I did it when I had the battery box off. On the side of your, like where this bolt is, where these bolts line up, straight out, you'll see a screw head. Now you just unscrew that a little bit, and it's just a rubber plug in there. You pull that out, and as you can see, I have my lever. It's just a cotter pin, and that lever and spring slide out, and then that collar that the rod is sliding through will come off. And then if you look way up inside of here, this rod right here, you have to put that in, and that's what actually engages the power takeoff. But you need to leave this bracket, which will eventually go onto here. You need to leave that bracket off until you put the PTO actually in. For the rest on the back side here, what you're going to need, you're going to need this plate, which will go in place of the other one. So then you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts around there, but then you also have an additional 3 here. Those have capture nuts on. And when you put this in, you can kind of see how that all bolts on. Bolts around the circular pattern, and then 2 on the outside. So we had to pick up a few extra bolts. They are 3/8 inch bolts. I picked up hardened ones. I got 3/4 inch, 1 inch, and 1.5 inch. So we'll see what fits the best because there's not a whole lot of clearance between his gear here, but it shouldn't interfere with any of these bolts ever. But I guess we will pick the best ones that fit it, and we'll get it installed. Alright guys, so one thing I've noticed between the new cover and the old cover is the new one has an extra hole here that this one doesn't have. Now if you look at the back of the transmission here, you can see where that extra hole is. There was a dowel, and somebody actually ground it out. So what I'm wondering is if this tractor had a power takeoff in it originally, someone took it out, and if that washer didn't come off the back side of this power takeoff. Maybe something with that went bad and They just got they got the cover, and I don't know how hard it would have been to find that plug, if that's even the plug that should be in there. Maybe this plug was just something that somebody put together and fit in there. I have no idea. There's really no other videos out there for me to compare this to, so I really don't know. It's kind of weird. However, when they ground this out, they kind of really dished that out, and it's almost all the way up to the top. So before I put that gasket on, I'm going to make sure that's good and clean. I'm going to put a little RTV in there just to make sure this thing seals up and we don't end up with a leak. I know it kind of leaked a little, but not, I don't think it was coming from there. I think it was just a general leak everywhere. These old tractors, they leak a lot of fluid. Well, let's get back to it. Well, we got our box from steinertractor.com. Inside, it's kind of hard to open up here, so bear with me. We got a couple of cowtails. We always send those with, and some gaskets for the power takeoff. So we will get this thing installed. Alright, so I put just a light coat of some ultra black RTV sealant, and I put a pretty good gob in where that was ground out, so hopefully we don't end up with any leaks. Then we'll just stick the gasket on, and that silicone will kind of help to hold it into place. Get the holes kind of lined up. And then I also put RTV on the back of the cover here, and I will do the same on the other piece. So let's get this put in. Alright, so we got the cover on with the 3 bottom bolts. Have the gasket in place for the actual PTO unit. Now when you are sliding the PTO in, you've got that collar there that goes way deep in there. That's what connects to your lever and engages and disengages the PTO. So what you got to do is you have the bracket that's just sitting here right now, so you can have full range of this lever. You're going to have to start out with this lever way forward, and you'll have to manipulate that with one hand while putting the PTO in, and then you'll end up bringing it back as you slide the unit in, once you know it's in the groove. It's going to be too hard for me to film doing it, so hopefully you guys get the gist of it. Alright, so now it's all in. The bottom 3 bolts, I put 3/4 inch long bolts in. All these top bolts are 1 inch. These very top 2, I might take some 1.5" which were too long and cut them down to like 1 1/4", or see if I can find some 1 1/4" long ones. And I might take those out yet and replace them, because there's not a whole lot grabbing. Now with the lever engaged, we cannot spin this because obviously it's trying to turn over the engine. But you reach up here, push down your lever and disengage it, move it to the disengaged spot, and it turns freely. So we know it's working. Then to refill it with fluid, take your plug out here. That's where you're going to fill from. And it's not really too easy to see, but this plug right here, you take that one out, and when the fluid starts leaking out of there is when you know it's full. Should be about 3.5 to 4 pints, so roughly 2 quarts is what you're going to need for gear lube in here. Let's get it filled up and make sure it all works. Alright, so there you have it. Just like that. It is installed and works. There's one more project done on the Cub. As always, guys, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up on the video, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel. In total, guys, this was probably about maybe a 40-minute job. So once you have all the parts, it's not too bad to put one in if you had to. Catch you next time.